Hi, welcome to Ocean Yemi's channel. So today, as you can see, I'm going to talk a little bit about Jordan Neely a little bit, but I'm also going to put up information, the homelessness around the New York area. In some of the videos, there will be repeats of what happened to Neely because it's all linked together. Because, as you can tell by what his friend said, anybody would have been in that chokehold at present. So, right now, the little bit that I've seen on Neely is that how he lost his mum at 14, and he had to go and testify about it. Now, this case was documented. It's definitely on some of the programs. His mother was named Christine Neely, and his either his stepfather or her boyfriend killed, unalived his mum, and she was found in a suitcase under a bridge. Now, now Neely, as his friend said, they were in the foster care system, and I think this was one of the reasons why how he ended up in the foster system. Now, as you can tell by most of the videos, even though he was homeless himself, he literally was trying to get his friend motivated and to do stuff with him. On top of that, yes, though he was homeless, he also impersonated Michael Jackson on the subways of New York. Now, there is a high level of homelessness around the area, which is spoken about in a lot of the statistics and stuff like that. And Neely is not really a rare thing in New York. There's lots of different types of homelessness, which I'm going to put on uploads to show one example of a journalist who's around the area. Now, obviously, like, I think it is one of the cases where, like, there's bystanders involved. There's questions of who are the men who was also there while Neely was in a chokehold by the Marine, who also helped. There's also the question of they no, not even a question. It's more like a statement. It's more like the thinking of, like, because homeless people are the invisible people. They are the ones who will be on corners and stuff like that. They are well, there's either drug problems or mental health problems or other types of problems. Now, this person, now Neely, on the other hand, right? He was raising money for him to eat. He would be busking and stuff. There's loads of videos of him busking, doing Michael Jackson impressions on the streets of New York. Now, there is a system that happens around the New York area, um, where they get picked up, they go through a system. Um, people call. I think they're not like the police. They're like another set of people who picks up homeless people, and then they be taken, probably get rehab or whatever, probably get checked on their mental health and all sorts of things. And there is a system based thing that is going on around in the New York State now. However, Neely, I mean, they're saying that he was in Rikers Island, whether that is true here or there or whatever. They're saying well, allegedly was in Rikers Island. I'll just say allegedly. He came out the prison system, and he was put out on the streets. Or according to his friend, when they came out of the foster care system, they was out on the streets. Right, so there's two stories. Okay, well, I'll try and solidify one of them, and I'll probably might have to come back and make another live. And Neely, you know, had, I think he had schizophrenia, and he also had another mental health problem. So when you see him, when he was on that train that particular day, because he say like he would eat, he wants something to eat, he wants something to eat, or unalive me, or something like that, right? Which doesn't mean literally what it meant, what it said, right? So most cases, the homeless people will end up in like police stations and stuff like that, which to them is like comfort, really. So any any type of like institution that houses them, they will be taken in, and and then after they have you know come through their rehab, they get put back out on streets. So most of these people are on streets. Veterans will be on streets. um a lot of people be on streets. I mean, Skid Row is a perfect example of that. There, right, so there's also a project, I think it's a kind of project or something, where they take the homeless off the streets, where the police will come and take them off the streets and move them to somewhere else, and and then they'll be in the system again. So it's very much systematically run type of situation. Now, the upload I'm going to put up later, which is written by a journalist, it might be in two parts, mind you. He explains the system of how they are picked up and what happens to them, and what's the criteria. Um, there's been others who's done videos on people on homelessness, drugs, whatever. So Jordan Needley, right, probably was a regular in the subway as well. He's probably one of the regulars. There's always I mean, it's like, I mean, I can go by over here as an example. There's always a homeless person that you see regularly in the area. It's not really strange. But when gentrification and everything is mixed in, when they're trying to move them on, trying to hide them, whatever. So I would say that either the Marine, he had a problem with Jordan because nobody else had a problem with him. Nobody on the train seemed threatened, disturbed. I mean, he might have had some outbursts, might have thrown stuff at people. So, there's stories at both ends, but it still doesn't give you the right to go and chokehold somebody. It does not give you the right to do that. And the fact that how some the friend said that how it could have been anybody, anybody could have got chokehold. It's just crazy. Um, the system is very much not for lower people. It's not for lower people, the invisible people. Because I remember when they used to call homeless people the invisible people. And then like you'll see like people with great stories, mind you, great stories. They've lived their lives. Some of them even more knowledgeable than the people who sits in on certain places, sits in offices and stuff like that. So for it to go as far as the way that it did, that this Marine had to go out and do what he did, I just think that was a bit much, basically. And I've said it on Darkside as well, and I'm just going to repeat myself. It's just a bit much because because according to the journalist that also wrote one of the articles that I'm going to put up or upload, there is coffee shops and stuff around or whatever, right? All the man wanted was food. All he was asking for was food, right? So it's just a matter of how you talk. I mean, like, I'm not saying be a soft touch or whatever. I'm not saying be a soft touch, But he was asking for food. That's all he was asking for. And I just thinking that's a bit like, he took it upon himself. You have to jump, you have to go from the back of a person, right? From my observation, I'll say. You go from the back of a person, right? And you have to do that chokehold, right? So you must have came from the back and then, pull him to the floor to restrain him as you choked hold him. And then you wrapped your legs around his foot because you can see where your legs are wrapped around man's foot. Then you have the two idiots holding his shoulders and his arms, right? So I said the man in the purple might be just be a innocent bystander, probably didn't know what to do. But he did not know what to do at this point. He just stood there. The reason why it's called a lynching, because he looks that way. It looks that way to me as well. I feel that it is a lynching. I feel. Um, Whether you had a chip on your shoulder and you felt that you was entitled to go and do that, that's a whole something else again. That's just entitlement too much. And on top of that, right, people are human beings at the end of the day. I just seen like there was some flash mob thing what they did for Jordan Neely, supposedly for Jordan Neely, right? Okay, I have nothing. I'm not gonna say all Caucasians are the same or whatever the case may be. They're not. Not all of them are the same. No, in most cases, right? But there was no arrest. There was no nothing. And imagine that the whole comment section peeped it. The whole comment section peeped it. Right now, when the other people did the protest, there was arrests and all sorts of things and plenty, like it was just like, but there was this so-called choir that was there who had Jordan Needley's jacket on a stick, singing their little hearts out, doing whatever they're supposedly doing. I nearly recorded it. I was this close to recording it. I thought, no, I'm not going to record it because you know what? It looks like there was, to me, it's like, what are you trying to do at this point? I mean, if it was to celebrate him, I would more or less get another Michael Jackson impersonator to do what he was doing there because he really busked as a Michael Jackson impersonator. I don't know what they were doing. I really got no idea. And the reason why I didn't record it because I just felt like it's just making a name. And then when people was filming, the lady kept looking at the camera. I was thinking, oh, so you're doing this for? It's not for Jordan Neely. It's not for the memory of Jordan Neely. Obviously, it was for yourself. Jordan Neely went through mad circumstances in his life, losing his mother, being in a foster system, all that. Probably didn't even know that how, like, though he had a family, which probably like he could have gone back to. He's like, you know, he was just on the streets. He was just stuck on the streets. He was out there till he was 30, till his life was taken. And it's like, it's just, to me, it just blows my mind, like situations like this, you know. I mean, people talk of the George Floyd situation and this one as well. When I see in certain comments, people are saying, "Yeah," or cheering. What is there to cheer about? Now, if it was the other way around, what would have happened? Wouldn't the man would have had been charged already? Something would have happened to him. And on top of that, they bring up Jordan Neely's charges. So they villainized him. He's a villainized victim, and it's not even like to show, like, no, I can't even put it into words right now. To be honest, I've looked over several things, and all I see is the Michael Jackson impersonator Neely. What I see. I even went back to the video that I uploaded of him begging on the train. He's begging on the train. The people just sitting down there looking at him. He ain't doing nothing. But I mean, fair enough. There is aggressive mental health. There is aggressive people on mental health who is homeless. Yes, there is those. But why? But you don't need to restrain that. restraints what you used on him was uncalled for. And that's why when I posted how long it takes for the person to actually go unconsciousness, because Marwan brought up a very good point. 3 minutes max, not even 15 minutes. That means you kept holding on and holding on and holding on and holding on. You know how long it takes for a person to be unalive via the arm, by a chokehold, because you are trained for this. So obviously you have an idea of, you know, what to do, what can make a person unconscious to what can make a person really, really, really unalive. So I'm just like, wow. On top of that, which is even crazier, they raise money for the guy. The perpetrator. The perpetrator gets money raised across a whole crowdfunding. You see who gives the largest money. Forgot his name. Kid Rock. It's like saying, oh, well done, well done, well done. So, excuse me if I'm not really like, because like I said, I always talk when I talk about anybody, and it's a man, a woman, like that's someone's uncle, son, you name it, right? Their circumstances and how they end up there is all different reasons. I've spoken to loads of people who be begging. Their circumstances and how they end up on the streets there's a lot of reasons behind it. There's a lot of reasons behind it. You don't even know. Sometimes you may judge a person by the cover. Sometimes, right, they'll tell the most stories. Like, um, some is a very aggressive. Yes, some is aggressive. I'm not gonna say they're not aggressive. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna make it all kumbaya and la 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 and whatever, because Jordan was there. He was there all the time. He was up that subway most of the time, I would imagine. Right? He was at the subway most of the time, and he was known as a Michael Jackson impersonator. I don't know whether he met Michael Jackson, because the friend said that how either he got a hat by Michael Jackson or something like that. He even motivated his friend. The fact that he motivated his friend, and considering his circumstances, to go back to college, to stand up and talk for people, to do for others, and you know, and it's just very sad. It's very sad. Like, I mean, you can't even walk, like I said, it come like you can't even walk the streets no more. What, like, um, it's given the Fifth Amendment here right now, because I remember when I watched the Fifth Amendment where they explain about black men in the system and how they get into the system and how they never come out of the system, and it's very deep, things like that. When you watch things like that, I mean, considering I'm in the whole UK, I think it's about the same over here. So I'm not just saying it's only in America where it is systematic. Um, he was obviously right. The Marine profiled him as an aggressive black man. Basically, that's what it is, and he decided he wanted to take him down, and that's exactly what he did. Um, whatever's stirring up in America, I don't know. It's just very crazy, because it causes a reaction all the way. It comes all the way back to England. It comes all the way back to the UK. And Jordan did not deserve it. Jordan Neely did not deserve what he got. You could have just phoned. I can't remember what they're called again, because there's another set of people that the police contact that comes and picks up the homeless. You could have just called them. Could have just called them, and they would have picked him up again and probably had him in the he could have got something to eat, he could have got whatever, because according to them, right, they have to give, right, to get them to come with them, they have to give them something to eat, give them something to drink, and then take them in. So you could have just done that, but instead you just chose to go the other way. Like, you came. So I'm just picturing it in my head. You came from the back, and you just took him down like that, and then you just carried on holding, you carried on holding, you carried on holding, while the other two idiots hold his shoulders, his hand, or whatever. And looking at his pictures, which is the pictures on the thumbnail, right? Obviously, he definitely had a heart, because even on his last minutes, last seconds, when you look into the eyes, his eyes particularly, there is a gentleness in there. But sometimes, right, but sometimes there's people who know how to reach that person inside of that the person shouting to calm them down or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and not necessarily go around it like that. You could have just called the police and whatever. Fair enough, right? Right, fair enough, right? Right, people's on the train. Because even the person standing outside as this is happening is saying, call the police, call the police. He says it numbers of times. Nobody does nothing. Just stand there filming it. Stand there filming it. Then you have the three fools plus the lady hovering over, the other lady standing near the other end. The man probably scared for himself in case like the same thing happened to him. It's like, I'm just saying, like, in general, it's the audacity for me. Then on top of that, they put a whole crowdfund out for the guy, and even though he took himself in to be charged. Apparently, he took himself. I mean, like, you see him walking into the station, and then he comes back out, and then they said, "Oh, yeah, it's manslaughter." That's murder, bruv. That's murder. That's straight out murder in live action, unadulterated. It's just that, they would, like, you're holding his neck. Someone's holding his shoulder. He's struggling in between it all. You got his legs locked, right? You got one man holding his two hands down. That's like, as one said in the comments, accessory to murder. Accessory to murder. That's accessory to murder right there. So basically, all three of yous, four, including the lady that's standing behind the man who was holding his hand, should all be taken in, because it's all in live action. People have images of all of you standing there doing what you're doing. Nobody does nothing. Nobody stops them. Nobody does a thing. So basically, this might just become a thing now, right? It's just like, I'm just warning a big old America. This might just become a thing now, where, like, we might hear more of these things happening on trains, roads, streets, whatever, you name it. Oh, I don't like that person. Okay, I'm gonna take them out. That's how the mindset is. Okay, so, right, Jordan Neely is just an example of how it's gonna go down. Okay, he's just an example, right? There's him. The George Floyd thing, there was questions on that. People asked a lot of questions on that. This one is too much in your face now. This is in plain in your face. And to be honest, people don't wake up. I don't know what. Right? So, like, you want to take out an invisible person. He was getting on your nerves. You was probably on your way to work or whatever, and he was like making up noise or whatever he was doing. And you decided on yourself, you're going to take it on yourself to take him out. Basically, that was the mindset. That's what the mindset. I'm looking at your face on all the pictures. No remorse in the face, no remorse in the eyes, nothing. Nothing. Don't even let go. You know, if you hold a person too long, what happens? But then you continue holding it. They said 15 minutes, but Mal one says no, it takes about three minutes or so before, till a person's on alive. I think a couple more minutes, I think it's unconsciousness. I can't remember. I put it all on the community tab. Now, this is an ongoing thing that seems to be happening, where I'm covering people who is being taken out in certain ways, and you're just like, wow, like really? But like Neely's friend said, it could have been anybody that could have been taken out that day. It just so happened that Jordan happened to be there asking for food, probably getting on people's nerves, in their faces, because that's normally how uh schizophrenia goes sometime, or bipolar, or whatever he had goes, right? And you decided, you took it upon yourself to take him out. But I do hope some kind of justice come out. They're still trying to raise money for Jordan Neely. But the Marine, he got more money, got more crowd from me than Jordan Neely. And I'm like, bro, like, really? So I'm gonna put up uploads of what was said from this journalist who's around the area. Please leave comments as you listen to it. Leave your comments accordingly, because I always read all your comments. I do that, right? And like I said, this could be anybody's brother, father, son, whatever, right? He hasn't left a child out there. There's no child. He's left no child, no seed out there, right? He died in his 30s, right? 30. What was I doing when I was 30? I was doing something. I was doing something. I was doing something. I was living life when I was 30. He's 30. And I had children at that time. He hasn't even left no children. He hasn't left no children, nothing. Like, the lawyer do actually show a picture of him when he graduated, when he was younger. There's a picture where you see there's a picture of him graduating as well. So he obviously had some kind of sense. He was able to tell his friend to go back to college. Okay. So I don't know what else to say on that point, really. I'm just going to leave it right here. Please leave your comments under this video and tell me exactly what you think, especially those who live in New York. If you live in New York and you've seen him around, you could come in the comments too, because I'm really quite curious to find out where the thinking is, really, because someone could have stopped all that. Someone could have stopped it. No one stepped in. Maybe because like the other guys told people to back off. The henchmen. That's what they are, henchmen. Told people to back off. People like they ran off the train, but they were still filming. They're still filming from on the train. Even the guy, they sound like an an Asian guy came on and said, "Is he okay? Is he okay?" And they were saying, "No, no, no, he's okay. He's okay." So if you listen very carefully to what's going on in the background as well. But I know that there's other point of views out there, and I mean, my one is quite interesting as well. So I literally take on board what he said when he spoke about the 2 minute or the 3 minute thing. So that's why I posted up the thing on the community tab. So I'm not going to be on here long. I'm actually going to leave it right here. Oh, hi, Medusa. I'm just, yeah, like, it's just really crazy. I mean, I finished now. I can't remember what I said, half of it, but it's just like crazy, like how this has turned out. It's just quite sad. I hope they do get some. I mean, I know families will come out of the woodwork and say whatever, whatever, whatever. That's normal. That's just normal, right there. That's normal, right? And they obviously want justice for. I think that's the grandmother. I think it was the grandmother wanted justice for Neely. It shouldn't have ended that way. It shouldn't have went down that road. There was no need. Anyways, I am gonna put up an upload where a journalist who probably rides on that subway, the same subway or near it, and he explains the system of how the homeless goes through, and how I think they call him the PMF picks them up and all that. I mean, I'm gonna try put all of it up as much as possible. Most of it might be in 3 parts, okay, but It's just, but they go through a system. They go through a system. Like, people can literally call the police. They call the police, and then the PMF comes, picks them up, takes them to like rehab or whatever they need, because they have a special place for them. I would think. I'm not that naive not to think there isn't one, because the space is for most things, because most of them either need rehab, need mental medical help, something, or whatever. So you could have just called the PMF. I think they're called. I think the PMF. Don't quote me on that name, but you could have just called the police, and the police would have called the other people to pick him up. You should not have. You had no right to do that. You had no right to take him out. You had no right to take him out, right? He went through a whole lot his whole self when he was 14 years old, find out that his mum passed and she was in a suitcase underneath a bridge. And there's you come and then come and do this rubbish. And it's just like, why? It's like, what is the point of it? What was the point of it? Are you trying to set fear into the hearts of people? People saying that how, oh yeah, the Marine could have been a white supremacist and this and that and the other and the other. I don't know. I think maybe he could have been peeved because he's probably ridden that train many times and he's seen him there causing havoc probably a little bit, maybe. But even so, right, we all have mobile phones, don't we? We have mobile phones. You pick it up. I don't like police. I don't like the pigs just like the rest of them, but the police would have called the other people to try and get him some kind of help. Because the New York area is known for having homeless people in that area, whether they want to hide them or whatever. So, yeah. So, I mean, I'm just in Lil Army just in the UK, but you know, information does be given in certain places, and it's quite telling what's going on, right? And I'm not the biggest law. I don't know about law. I don't know about this. So I ain't gonna pretend like I know this, that, and the other. But what I see is just quite easily could have just been sorted with, like, like talking him round. There must be someone there who will be working in the mental health situation. There's always someone that's around who works in the mental health situation, who knows how to talk a person around. You can quite easily tell when a person's got mental health and when they got other things going on with them and when they got drugs. Because some homeless people ain't scared to tell you what they've been through in their life. Hi, London man. Some homeless people ain't scared to tell you what they're going through or what they are going through or what they're trying to get over or what they're trying. Like I said, I have spoken to beggars on the road. One particular, he was a punk rocker, right? And he would tell me, okay, right, okay, I used to be an alcoholic, I used to be this, I used to be that, and they will tell you how they end up on the street. They will literally tell you. Now, if you talk to them quite regularly, like, and another person that is homeless comes and begs you for money, whatever, 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 they will literally tell them to move on. They tell them, like, hang on, kid, where you going? Like, wherever. That's how they'll talk. They'll talk to them like that, right? Right? Because some circumstances is just crazy. Some people end up on the streets for all types of reasons. All types of reasons. Drugs, um, like, losing their home, lost a job, whatever. Now, people think that, oh no, this is not going to happen to me. No, 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 this is not going to happen to me, right? Because that's called entitlement. That's called entitlement. Okay, the guy did not deserve to have what happened to him happen to him. Basically, hold on, let me see. What's Medusa saying? Mind-boggling that the guy wasn't arrested on the spot. Plus, they let the animal go because of his complaint. Yes, that's what I say. They let him go. They let him go. He went to the police station, took himself in, and then he came back out. And then they said something about manslaughter. And then the others that was involved, which is there was actually 3, 4 people involved on that. If you look at the picture closely, you see their involvement, right? You see the involvement. The bit where I circled, where one of them is holding his arm down as he's being chokehold. One's holding the arms, one's holding the shoulder, right? The lady comes over, she walks over. If you go to the video, if you go and you look at the video, you see the lady walk over and she looks and then she walks back to wherever she was standing. I'm thinking to myself, she don't stop it. She don't do nothing. The other lady just looks on. The black guy, I just think he's just scared or he's just thinking, oh my God, that possibly could be me or something like that. Because I think that that's how America works. Because, like, you know, obviously, right, they like to prove a point to other people of different ethnicity. Look, we can do this to you. That's probably what it is. I mean, like, you can tell me I'm wrong because I know I have white subs. You can tell me I'm wrong, but it's just like it's just like it's the audacity of it. Come on now. It's like, all you have to do is make a phone call. There's people who deal with those people on a regular basis, probably even know the man by name. They probably know Neely by name. I guarantee it. If he's known for causing drama, they know him by name. Okay. So basically, you could have just done that. Because my thing is, like, yes, you came from him from the back, and then you pull him to the floor. Because I know you have to, right? There must have been a struggle to the floor, right? Any one with a brain can see that, right? Okay, and I'm not the cleverest one in the box. No, I'm not. I'm not. But I'm just saying, right? And you'll see that, you know, there is a struggle. There is a struggle. Obviously, he's fighting for his life, right? He's fighting for his life. And it's so strange because this happens quite often. If it's not the police doing the most, it's some entitled fool prick doing the most. Okay. And I don't use prick very most often and a lot of times, but it's like you're doing the most at this point. You're doing the most. Are you trying to prove a point to the other people's other ethnicities? Are you trying to prove a point? What is going? What is like? But America have this ongoing thing. I mean, over here we have kind of the same thing. It's called racial profiling. Racial profiling, right? Now, like I said, in Fifth Amendment, they talk about black men as being aggressive and they are known for the R word, they are known for this, they are known for that, they are known for this. Yes, in most cases, some cases, yes. Some cases, no. And it all depends, I think, on the background and all that stuff that comes into play, whatever. Just because you see a person, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are that stereotype, and that's where people go wrong. I mean, I can stereotype a few people myself if I really wanted to, really. If you like, if people like, you know, I'm sure I've done it myself, where I've been out and I've just been looking and I pull the most faces until they say or they smile at me or they say something to me, then I kind of calm it down a little bit because it's like you have to put on a facade when you're outside because like people are brought up in different areas or they're not brought up around ethnicities, they don't understand, they don't know about certain things, they don't really mix, right? And so when they see you as a person, even if you're not aggressive, you can be dressed in your best, you can be the most whatever, they will still put you in the same cart, the same boat, the same everything else. So you have to know, you have to think like what is the hell? And imagine there's only that small video of him asking for food on the train. You don't see him throwing nothing at nobody, even though they say that he threw a couple, he was aggressive to somebody, I think a woman, and that's what made them go to do what they had to do. But there's only that one video. I don't see no other videos. There's no videos. Concerned people is quick to pull out the video and record everything. Where is the video of him throwing or being aggressive to a woman, a woman, or whatever the case may be? So, you know, when I see that, and I say, well, but even so, still, it doesn't give you the right to give him a chokehold. It doesn't give you the right, right? Right? You can restrain a person, put them to sit down. Well, you know what men do. They like, you know, you can hold him back. You know, put him to sit down. I'm sure I've seen men do that until whenever, until they got to the subway stop, and then they could have dealt with it accordingly. There was no need for all that strong arm business. Okay, but I will be sharing more. As like, you know, I'm trying to find stuff because I don't want to put up the mum's demise. That's why I spoke about it here, because I'm not gonna put up the video of his mother's demise, because I think all that has something to do with it too. All that has something to do with his mental health. Yeah. So, you know, it's just crazy. Yes, let me see. Yes, it is heartbreaking. Yes, you are right. I hope he receives justice. Yeah, I hope he do. He do. I hope he do. Unacceptable and blatant. Me, me, me. You understand? You understand? Oh, blatant murder. Yes. Hi, London. Yeah, mind-boggling. Yes. Plus they let the animal go because of its complex. Yes. Everyone involved should be charged. Yes. I can't stand by and watch a person being abused. Yes. I mean, I'm the same. Sometimes I have to hold back myself. You know what I mean? And people know how to deal with certain stuff as well. Shake my head, sadly true. Life is taken for granted and unappreciated. Yep, it's all that. So, you know, I just thought I'd say this bit about Jordan Neely, because you know, like you see how his friend is singing his praises. Everybody who's seen him, been near him, they're not talking about him bad. They said maybe he had some outbursts. But if he's known for having outbursts and stuff, that means he's known to certain organizations, obviously. So you could have phoned, like I said, the police. I will repeat this. I'm going to repeat this all the way through this video right now. You could have contacted the police. Then the police would have got this, I think they call a PMF or something, and then they will come pick up him. Right? Then they'll take him and then they'll check him, you know, obviously assess him, whatever they got to do, and feed him, because he's hungry. He was hungry at the time, right? He was begging for food. That's what he was doing. He was begging for food. So, you know, I just thought I'll say this because I said it on the dark side already, but I said it in a different way. But when I look into it a bit more now, I'm thinking, wow. That's why I put up the video. I show him being the performer. I show him being the motivator and the friend, because the guy speaks so highly of the guy. If you listen to how he speaks of him, right? He speaks highly of Neely. He speaks highly of him, right? And even though the newscasters didn't put in sections, I put in sections because I'm going by what I heard and what I see, right? You know, he even talks about like when he held the hat to collect the money from the people as Neely was performing, right? So I don't, and the other comments which what I put up from another channel, I think it was from the news channel, and they was saying comparing him to George Floyd. I was thinking, how is it how is it the the only thing I can say which is the same is because it was filmed. Yeah, it was filmed. So it's kind of the same, similar in that respect, in that same aspect, but it's just that he was asking for food, and once again, nobody does nothing. Pulls out all the phones. Okay, except for one guy who was saying, "Call the police, call the police, call the police." The guy kept saying it, "Call the police, call the police." I can't put it up on YouTube because YouTube will definitely take that video for real. Um, but the guy was saying, call the police, call the police. You see him go onto the train, and he carries on filming. I'm sure there was other people filming too. And then the guy says to them, is he okay? And they said to the guy, he's okay. Well, he wasn't okay. He had already passed. He already collapsed, unalived. He was gone by that time, right? And even in one picture, you see the paramedics trying to resuscitate him. By this time, he's already gone because, like, he coughed the ear to his mouth or whatever, and you know, you held him for so long. He went past unconscious. So you know, but anyways, I just thought I'll talk about it because you know I'm putting up videos and videos on him, so I want people to understand where I stand on this. All right. I know I got to talk about the toddlers, but I keep getting this. There's other things keep coming in, so like so I got to stop and pay attention to what's going on. It's not because it's trending; it's the circumstances around it. It's the circumstances around it. There was no need for it to happen. This is a huge lack of compassion in the world, and especially New York, numb to others' needs or medical or mental health and capacity. Yeah, true, true, right there. And it's like, where does it end? So my only thing is, was this to show to other can't talk now, ethnicities, look, this can happen to you. Like if you're going on a certain way, if you're shouting, making up too much noise, in my head, I'm gonna get up and I'm just gonna do whatever and whatever because I know I'm gonna get off anyway. That's probably what it looks from where I'm sitting. Now, like I said, you could tell me I'm wrong. I mean, like we can have a conversation in the comment section. I'm sure I can entertain it. It's not no skin off my nose. I can even do a whole panel if you want to even come talk and say your piece because at the end of the day, it's ridiculous. Like for years and years and years and centuries and years and years, this has been going on. It's been going on, right? People say, oh, like the George Floyd thing was staged. It wasn't staged. I don't think that was staged, to be honest. I think it's like this. The only thing is that it started a whole cataclysm of everybody marching all around different parts from Europe, no, from America to England and all over. It started people marching and all that. And yes, even though, like, I don't know whether anything came out of it I don't even think anything came out of it. It hadn't really changed nothing. Like I said, Black Lives Matter is not really for who they say they're for anyway. So, um, it makes no sense. People's like all happy to see them. They in fact the protests could have even been a quiet protest, a quiet vigil, but it turned into it didn't even go into a violent one. But the police was just there being strong armed as usual. There's nothing new there. So, when does it all end? When does it all end? The people need to turn vigilantes out there or something. And I'm not saying that they need to do it, but I'm just saying in general because there's not a balance. There's no balance. There's no balance to this. There's no balance to this. How is he getting off and walking out and he's got a whole crowdfunding raising more than the guy he unalived? It just makes no goddamn sense. But anyways, I'm gonna come off before I go on and on and on into nothingness and waffle and repeat myself. We weren't we weren't raised like this. Exactly. But anyways, I'm gonna come off. Thank you, Medusa and London Man for passing through. We've got your names, Medusa and London Man passing through. And I'll see you in my next live. Okay. So with that said, I'm gonna come off. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.